Hey guys, happy Monday. We'll be starting off here and hello, good morning, and welcome to PsychCandy for August 22nd. Well, here we are. We made it through the weekend. I hope everybody had a really good, blessed weekend, did something fun for yourself, and relaxed a little bit, and here we are kicking off Monday. Now, today we're going to talk about something that we've touched on a little bit in the last couple of shows. What do we think about whenever we're talking about energy? Our own personal energy, what we receive, what we project. And I've had a lot of people recently, even over the weekend, heck, even this morning, I've heard these statements. I feel off. My energy's shifted. I'm feeling depressed. I feel overwhelmed. I feel unhappy. I feel like I'm not following my goal. I feel like that I'm not achieving where I want to be. I feel like that I've lost myself. These are all things, all comments that I've heard. And when we look at the power of positive energy, well, we look at that because that sounds great, right? Everybody can be, we just need to be more positive. You just got to be, just tackle it in a different fashion. We just got to get that positive thinking on board. Well, sometimes it's really hard to do because we get so brought down by all the other stuff that's making us feel unhappy or shifting our energy somewhere else. And one problem is that we allow so many outside things to influence our mental space, our emotional space, how we're feeling about ourselves. Are we taking care of us? And don't worry, I'm not going down the road of attacking social media or anything, but I am saying that all of the things that you listen to, that you see, that you bring in, well, guess what? It's going to impact your energy and your own thought process of what you feel within your own bubble and what you are receiving from others, but also what you're projecting outward. Sometimes we get stuck in that negative. We get stuck in that darker aspect. We get stuck in the loop of negativity. And when that happens, then it becomes, that's our routine. Now look, there's many ways to achieve that state of inner peace, the tranquility, harmony, within ourselves. But the road to doing that can be really long sometimes. It can seem very tedious. Some people find it in religion. Some people just find it in their own spirituality. Others in lights like yoga, meditation. There's a whole list, which people can turn to in order to feel that peace within themselves. And not just that, but within the world around you. People who often turn to the kinds of methods like I just talked about will often be looking for that even deeper sense of that inner harmony, total awareness of themselves and their place in the world. But on a fundamental level, it all begins with us feeling that something is just not right. Like those comments I was sharing that I've heard. Like, I feel off. I don't feel like I'm on point. I'm not following my true purpose. Those are hard things, and a lot of times too, it might be, you start off into maybe a relationship, romantic relationship with somebody, and it's all good until all of a sudden it's not. And when it's not, that positive has faded. But a lot of times that positive is not necessarily faded because of the relationship itself. It's faded because of what foundation or structure you have allowed yourself to fall back into. When we look at positive energy, now a lot of times when we talk about energy, I can talk about, for example, sensitive people that are empaths and that have an ability to be emotional sponges. And that can heighten when they're at a social event or around coworkers or in crowds, and you start pulling off of other people's energy. You start pulling off of everything around you. If empaths are around peace and love, well, their bodies assimilate those same things and flourish, Negativity, though, that often feels very assaulting, very exhausting. And for people who are empaths, well, for empaths to fully enjoy being around others, they have to learn to protect their own sensitivity, and they got to find that balance. Well, we're all that way to a degree. You got to have you don't have to necessarily identify as an empath. You got to identify as a human being. That we all live within this life, that we are going to be faced with the emotional struggles, the challenges, the downfalls sometimes, but also all of the happy times, the celebrations, the passion, all of those things that we want to embrace in our life. Now, I personally, I am an empath. I had to learn how to shield some of that sometimes. I had to learn how to protect my own positive energy, because that's what I want to project. I want to project positive. If I go into a place and, you start pulling up, people are in a bad mood, people are fighting, there's arguing, all this stuff, and you start bringing that in, well, guess what? You've been around that. You've been in those situations, I'm sure. You get into a situation, there's just so much negative going on, all of a sudden, somebody asks you a question, hey, Graciela, what time is it? It's 2 o'clock. Why? It's like you snap, And it's because we've allowed that energy now to come in and seep in, and starts to intermingle in our own processes. We start to behave like the atmosphere that we have embraced. I've always been hyper attuned to other people's moods, good or bad. And before I learned to protect my energy, I would feel them kind of lodge in my body a little bit, And after being in crowds, sometimes I would leave feeling anxious, even depressed or just tired. And when I got home, I wanted to unplug. I wanted to crawl into bed, or, just aiming for I just needed my peace and quiet. I was done. I'd had enough. But see, a lot of times, a lot of people, they don't have that structure. You don't have that moment where you have some kind of whatever it is that you do, whether it's go home and take a bath, or go home, grab a book or something, just to vacate from everything else, so that you can find that balance again within yourself. And doing that before you go to sleep, that's important. But a lot of people don't do that. You get home, you had a shitty day, you're around a bunch of negative. It's just like, just screw it. You go to bed. You just go to bed, turn the light out. Hope for the best. And what's going to start happening, though, is guess what? There's going to be residue. You're going to wake up. You still got some of that stuff that you didn't quite deal with. And now you kind of, you might then now that your day starts off a little bit that way, because you took that in and you didn't process it out. Now, I'm not sitting here, meditation and all that stuff may not be for you, and that's okay. But there's got to be something that you find. I mean, we are all different. We're all unique. We're all creative, but we're all very distinctly us. So what works for me may not work for Graciela, may not work for Ron, may not work for Cecilia. But what we have though is that you have to find what that is. A lot of times, and I don't get to do it often because I mean, you guys know I live I live out in the sticks of Georgia, basically. I live out here in Lake Oconee, and it's nice and all, but my grounding place though is every now and then, and I used to try to make it happen like at least every 3 months if I can. But my grounding place, I go to the beach. I like to go to the beach. I want to be in the ocean. I want to go and I want to get in that ocean. I'm going to get in the ocean and I'm going to come out. When I do, I'm leaving it all. I'm grounding out. I'm finding my center. I'm finding my peace. I try to practice meditation. I try to practice all of these things because we have to have that mode where we're saying, hey, I am not okay right now and I'm gonna fucking fix it. No matter what anybody else is chirping in your ear, no matter what else you're dealing with in your life, you are deciding, I need to fix me right now and I'm gonna do it. And you find whatever it is. No, but I'll share this. This is funny. I had somebody though that do you know what their Zen was? Their little Zen moment. They would go home. They would turn their phone off. They would make this big old pot of like Southern style mashed potatoes, just all the butter and some garlic maybe, and they would sit down and just enjoy eating their comfort food. That was their Zen. That was their own personal meditation. It was like, that was cool. I mean, it worked for them, but that's what they found. That was their comfort. What's your comfort? What can you do that doesn't involve anybody else? It involves you. It involves your resonance of yourself to where you can actually sit still and establish, what is my energy right now? Is it negative? Is it sad, depressing, frustrating, overwhelmed, anxious? Or is it happy? Is it celebratory? Is it peaceful? Is it tranquil? What is it? And in order to really be in that space to where you understand the power of positive energy, you got to understand the power of you. And in order to understand energy, it's just like with any other even emotion. Do you allow yourself to sit with something to understand it so that you can then form how you are going to work through it, resolve it, process it? See, a lot of times people don't let themselves sit with something. I did a show a while back talking about boredom. And most people can't just just sit still. I want you to sit in a chair, no phone, no music, no food, no TV, no nothing. Just sit there. Sit there and don't let your brain go to, I need to text so and so. I got to get on Facebook. No, just sit. Just sit. Just sit and focus on your breathing. Try that. See how long you last. But then I challenge you to, when you sit there and you feel like, I gotta get up, don't. Press a little further. Go a little deeper. There. Be in your moment. Understand that feeling of boredom. What does it even feel like to be bored? Because most people, you can't. You'll sit there trying to work on, work on a paper for work. And you got music going. You got your music going. You got maybe a TV show's going in the background. Dogs are barking all around you. I mean, it's like people don't sit there and just sit with it. I've challenged people this before, within 30 seconds to a minute, some of those people they have to grab that phone. I'm just checking my phone. It's good, and they'll put it back down. A minute later, they'll check the phone. That's not you sitting with something. It's not you understanding what does. Anna, what does boredom feel like to you? How does Anna process boredom? Because it's going to be very different than how Graciela does it, or Deanna does it, or Ron does it. or Marwan does it, it's going to be different. So now, when we understand that we can sit with now those feelings of anxiety, and for some people, like, no, that's scary. Look, I deal with anxiety. I've had an anxiety disorder since I was a teenager. But I had to also learn how to sit with that anxiety sometimes to understand, how is Trinity going to navigate this? How am I going to navigate my anxiety so it doesn't go off the charts like it has many times? I used to end up in the ER from my anxiety attacks. No joke. That was scary. Freaked me out. you know? But I had to learn how. It was not a situation of like, well, just get all the medication and pop your pills and you'll be good. No. I had to learn how to. We have the power of our own energy, don't we? And let me tell you something. Positive energy is better than any fucking Xanax that you can pop in your mouth. Truth. But we have to learn it. I had to learn it. It took me a long time, but I didn't give up. So I had to learn how to control myself, control my inner energy, my inner focal points. And whenever we can learn to do that, guess what? We start to navigate our depression differently. We start to navigate our frustration differently. We start to navigate confusion differently. See, positive energy doesn't just relate to, oh, today we're just talking about how to be happy. No, I'm talking about how to understand your energy. Positive energy is healthy energy. Positive energy is clarity. Excuse me. It's being clear of mind, being clear in our heart, being clear that we are where we need to be in this moment. Excuse me. So when we start to then, like I said, understand and build energy. Now, some of you were in my show on Saturday, and and guess what? We had some negative energy pop in, didn't we? Totally unforeseen. Didn't know it was going to happen, but it did. But then there was a choice in that moment, right? And it was guarding energy. Guys, forgive me. I'm still on the cusp of clearing out of my body whatever I was fighting last week. So I apologize for coughing in your ear. But we have to establish, though, that what does positive energy actually mean to you? Because positive energy, it's a thing. It is a tangible force inside of you. And sometimes that positive energy, if we're feeling down, I encourage people, well, who's the one friend of yours that you can go to and they always make you feel better? They just make you feel better. They calm you out. They make you laugh. That one person that can do that for you, well, guess what? Then those are those moments when it's okay that you get to receive positive energy from an outside source to help fuel you, that helps kickstart you back in the opposite direction. So now you're not just sitting there in your own funk. You're not just sitting there in your own negative bubble. But you reached out to get that positive. We just have to be careful about where we reach out to. Be careful of what you plug into, right? You know, when it comes down to a lot of this, we have to give ourselves permission to start to identify what might be wrong, like in us, of why we can't have that, why we're not achieving and understanding that power of positivity. And the first step to working towards finding our inner peace is to try to seek the answers as to what's causing us not to feel peaceful and tranquil. I mean, you might be troubled by issues relating to your health or your career or your relationship or family, finances. You might not even, just feel comfortable in your own skin at the moment. Maybe your life has gotten derailed from you being where you know that you need to be as a person. the thing that connects to your heart, that connects to your spirit, and you've gotten away from that. And now it's that feeling of being lost. But the important thing is to analyze all of these areas in your life and then identify which areas aren't working for you. And then once you've done that, well, now you have to respond compassionately and not beat yourself over, what's going wrong or how long you've been in your rut or whatever. Don't beat yourself up for it, because we're all human. We're going to have hiccups. We're going to have mistakes. We're going to make some wrong turns sometimes, or, bad choices. But we have to be compassionate with ourselves. And then with those certain aspects that have gone wrong, we understand them. A compassionate response and accepting your feelings, even if they are negative feelings at that present form, is still an initiation process into the healing stage. That goes back to what I was trying to say. We have to sit with the feelings sometimes. You have to sit with that negative sometimes. We have to sit with that anxiety sometimes. We have to sit with those moments so we can best understand how is your body and your mind processing this. We get into that quiet contemplation, of the areas where we don't feel at peace. And you got to think, how does that make you feel? And this is why a lot of times, deep breathing exercises, taking that moment, just close your eyes and take that moment. Breathe in and exhale. And when you do that, as you exhale, try to exhale that negativity so that you can just breathe. Just, you've got this, And as you do this and you make it a mindful practice, what are you doing? Well, you're saying to yourself and to the negativity, no, we're going to flip this. And we're going to breathe out, and we're going to breathe in the positive, and we're going to breathe out the negative, and then we're going to clear our minds so that then, as we have that clarity of thought, now you can allow yourself to feel any emotion that washes over you. It might be pain, it might be frustration, grief, anger, disappointment. But what's important is that you allow yourself to feel these emotions and to identify what each one of them are and what it might be connected to. There have been times when I simply felt overwhelmed. I was just immersed in my own brain with 9,000 things, and I was frustrated, I was unhappy, I couldn't do it, and I did this exercise. I've done this exercise many times, but I'm remembering one time in particular, and I was doing this exercise, and as I was breathing, and I was just letting go of stuff. I was just letting it go, so that I could actually focus to see what is actually going on. Well, let me see what washed over me. I sat and I just started crying. I sat there and I just cried. I allowed myself to cry for what felt like an hour. And then I thought about, when's the last time that I allowed myself to give in and let go and just let it out. Let it go. And it had been a long time. And whenever I'd released all of that, I was able to sit. And guess what? I had tension. That had left my shoulders and my neck, where I carry a lot of mine. It left. I was breathing deeper and easier. I was thinking clearer. And guess what? I identified the root causes of what had built up for so long. I identified them. And then I resolved them. Well, one of those things is that I was never taking time for me. Never had my own time. Never focused on having my own positive energy stored up. Because I let myself get into the trap where it was about everything else and everybody else. And I let go of me. You can't let go of you. If you let go of you, what do you have that you're pouring out to everybody else? Frustration, depression, negativity, anger, anxiety, sadness, right? Now, I'm not saying we're not going to hold on to some of these things sometimes or go through stuff. We are. And it's okay that you get with your person or whatever and you say, hey, I'm sad, and you need some support there. That's great. But you have to have some kind of a plan of how you're going to deal with this on your own so that you keep mindful about the power of your own positive energy within inside of you. And that's just like that's an energy source that you want to keep stocked up. Positive energy is like a soul battery. It's a heart battery. It's a thing that we have to have because it makes us operate better, happier, stronger. One important thing is that we have to accept ourselves for who we are with all our strengths, all of our weaknesses, all of our limitations. And that's in each and every one of us. We all have that. And too often our struggle, begins with like low self-esteem, or we feel inferior because we imagine falsely that we should conform to some kind of stereotype or whatever the case may be. But we are all unique. Don't ever forget that. And with unique individual talents and special qualities and how we process and what our emotions are and what our gifts are and our sense of humor and all these things. Well, be proud of those qualities. Be proud of those skills and nurture and cultivate that on a regular basis. And that means keep recharging that positive energy nucleus inside of you. If you suppress all of that, then you're going to be denying yourself the inner peace that you want, that you need, that we all need. And we also have to live a balanced life. We got to balance that whirlwind of the day-to-day life, and we have to spend some time in a tranquil setting where we can just simply reflect on the day's events. And that's why I was talking about earlier. Right? Don't go to bed all jacked up and in knots. Give yourself a peace break. Do something. Take a bath. Read a book. Have a cup of tea. Just sit quiet outside maybe. Feel the breeze on your face. Go look at the moon. You got to make some time for you so that positive energy can build and restore and renew. And if we start getting mindful about that and start making mindful choices in life, well, then now we're starting to make that our pattern. Now we start to make that our building place, our healthy, that's our healthy vitamin for our soul. And I don't mind sharing. I mean, over the past month, I've hit some frustration. I've had some hiccups in my own life. I haven't been feeling 100%. And so I'm trying to get mindful about it, and I'm making myself do the things that make me feel positive, that bring back my positive. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not walking around, ready to jump off a cliff or something. I'm just saying that, but I haven't felt like me. I haven't been on point. So now I'm doing things that make me on point. Most of the time, again, we get wrapped. We get wrapped in the superficial. We get wrapped in the shallow crap. We get wrapped into all the freaking 9,000 avenues of social media. We get wrapped into everybody else's life. Why? Because it distracts us from having to pay attention to our own. And I encourage you, pay attention to your own. Pay attention to you. Because there ain't nothing social media or TikTok or any of these other things are going to actually do to repair you. You got to repair you. You got to make it a focus point. But you got to understand that you have the power to do so. You do. That ain't up to nobody else. It's up to you. but you totally have the power of positive energy. And when you understand it and how to use it, that's when you can actually elevate and not regress. I want to share some stuff with you guys. And while I'm doing that, if anybody wants to come up for a moment um, and share some thoughts, I'm going to invite you to the stage right now. I want to mention to you guys, I got a bunch of you in the audience here, and I want to thank all of you for being here. Graciela is down there, and Graciela and I, we're going to be, we're actually going to be talking tomorrow to sort out a plan. But Graciela and I are going to be doing a very cool show together that I really think is going to be a good tie-in to this topic. And we're going to talk about like us, like our own personal magic, our own personal aspects of how we can build to a better, healthier dynamic within ourselves. I'm looking forward to that show. If you're not following Graciela, please do so. And but yeah, guys, we have to allow ourselves to really, truly let stop listening to everybody else around you. And if you have toxic tied to you, get rid of it. If you got negatives that's all tied to you and lumped into your life, get rid of it. If you if you can sit and clearly see that you know that you're intentionally making bad choices on a regular basis, stop. Don't worry about change, especially when it affects somebody else. Because you know what? That somebody else is not you. They're not living your life. They're not feeling what you feel. They don't have your history. And they may not be going to the place that you're going. And that's okay. Because those decisions have to come from you. It doesn't involve anybody else. Because if you lose sight of you and what you're doing and what you have, even if you're in a relationship, what are you giving into that relationship? You're giving less than. You're giving less of yourself because you're not honoring you. You're not honoring you to be the full you that you need to be and want to be. So let go of everybody else's opinion. Let go of everybody else's input. Let go of everybody else's control. You control you. You be present for you. And once you do that, then you can turn and know what it is you're pouring into your relationship, into your friendships, into your family dynamic, into your work colleagues, all of it. Because you understand you. And you harness the total control of your own power of positive energy. Guys, I hope you were able to pull something good from this today. That was my hope and goal, is to maybe plant a little seed in there, a positive seed, something that you can grow and manifest on your own and do something good with it. Guys, thank you so, so much for being here. Graciela, Ron, Mark, Deanna, Cecilia, Marwan, Anthony, Amy. I love and appreciate you guys so very much. So have a blessed, amazing, and wonderful. Thank you so much for that, guys. Have a blessed and amazing rest of your Monday. I hope your week is starting off amazing. And I will see you guys tomorrow right here at 11:30 a.m. And yeah, until next time, most importantly, be happy, be healthy, and be you. Cheers.